It's also a pleasure. We also want to say you introduced legislation prior to the shutdown on preventing this very thing from happening in the future. So talk about that. And I think we're all interested to know what exactly it is you're negotiating, because we've heard a lot of, conversations on Capitol Hill that there is nothing to negotiate. Well, now we're hearing from President Trump. He might be open to some kind of a deal. So what's going on?
Yeah, the president said that he's open to actually talk about healthcare costs, because obviously the affordable healthcare bill that Democrats passed a decade and a half ago is clearly not affordable. They're asking for more and more subsidies every year. So each year they come back and say, we need more supports or the cost of healthcare is going to go up. And we all smile and say, you wrote a bill literally called the Affordable Healthcare Bill, and you're proving every single year that it is not affordable. So that's an issue. But the president's been very clear, as all of us in the House and the Senate have been very clear. Any conversations about how we fix health care has to be after the government is open. We're not going to have those conversations right now on any of those areas. And so the president came out and said he's willing to be able to talk about it after the government's open. I have been one to say over and over again, I'm not for just additional subsidies after additional subsidies. Democrats created a health care policy that is driving up the cost of insurance for every single American and is just asking for more and more subsidies from the government to be able to subsidize over and over again. So that has to be fixed. That's not going to be fixed in the next 6 weeks, though.
Senator, President Trump is also speaking about potential federal layoffs due to the government shutdown. Here's what he said.
I can tell you, I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on. If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial. And a lot of those jobs will never come back.
Senators, he's saying that to kind of push the Democrats a little bit to say, you sure you really want to go here?
Yeah, I think he's saying a couple of things. One is he's just admitting the reality. He's already had about 150,000 people in the federal workforce that have left the federal workforce September the 30th. That was the last day. They took the early out time period over the last several months. That ended. So 150,000 federal employees gone on September the 30th. Now it's after that. He's saying, hey, there's still more that we need to reduce. And if individuals are listed as non-essential, that may be something we look at long term and say if they're not essential during the shutdown, maybe they're just non-essential long term as well, to be able to look at and evaluate. So this is given an opportunity to be able to literally have every single agency define who's essential, who's non-essential. The president's going to look at that list and then make determinations from there what he needs.
It's like Doge 2.0.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. All right, we also want to get to this, Senator. Today, obviously, the 2-year mark of the October 7th attacks in Israel. We know Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, he's been fearless in his support of our close ally, but several of other Democrat colleagues in Congress, they have not, obviously. Fetterman, he also posted this video to X.
It's the second anniversary of that tragedy of 10/7. Now, thankfully, now we have the possibility to end this terrible war and bring back the remaining hostages. My vote and voice is going to continue to follow Israel. I'm so truly sorry for what your nation's been through. I'm proud to stand with you, and I'll continue to do so.
You would think, Senator, this would be universal, that kind of speech there that we heard from Senator Fetterman there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it should be universal. I was actually on the floor of the Senate earlier today, remembering October the 7th from 2 years ago, talking about the 1,200 plus people who died, the more than 4,000 people that were injured, and the 251 people that were taken hostages, including hostages that still remain there, both dead and alive. So we can't forget this. Everybody seems to want to move on and to be able to say, well, it's terrible what's happening in Gaza. And it is terrible what's happening in Gaza, but this was caused by, led by, and is completely the fault of Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad and what they have done to be able to cause and bring this war. So we should continue to be able to stand with Israel, make a very clear statement about this. We all want to be able to see an end to this war, but we can't forget how it started and why it's still going on. They're still holding hostages. They're still using civilians as their shield to be able to protect their future acts of terrorism.
Okay, got to leave it there. Senator Lankford, sir, always a pleasure to have you on. Good to see you.
Yeah, you bet. It's good to see you again.